Hey guys, guess who's back? Back again. Yep, me, Erin from Celebr8, back to do the next class. This time it's with Wild and Whimsical. It's awesome little design, cute little pictures, images, quite fairy tale like. Absolutely love it. Sorry, I have my cats in here as well, and she has this thing when I talk, she talks. But unfortunately we can't close the door and shut her out. So please tolerate my bubbikins meowing every now and then. She might even come on screen, knowing her. But anyway, we'll do our best to avoid that. So all you need to do 3 projects, there's 2 doubles and a single, is your 1 bulk pack. So today we are going to be creating layout 1. This is a special friend of mine, little one, Laura. So you see it's a journal block, the date of birth. It's all little goodies there. I don't normally use a wreath because it takes up such a lot of space, but I mean, with this one, how could you not? I mean, look at that photo. She's just too gorgeous. So that's layout 1 that we're going to complete. Layout 2 is of one of my other babies. This is one of my bunnies. Name's Munchkin. She is a little rascal, but I love her to bits. And this project, I challenged myself not to have any fairies or pixies or anything on it. So you'll see here that actually there are none. So for those who aren't too keen on all the fairy tale kind of things, we can alter it and we can just cover it up and just make it birds and nests and birdhouses and all cute other bits and pieces. So that was a challenge for layout 2, was to have no actual little pixies, and it worked out great as far as I'm concerned. I absolutely love my bunny, so it's a subject matter. Dennis said this is actually his favorite layout, and I said, nah, it's the subject matter. That's why he likes it so much, because she is definitely one of our babies. And then the last one, my typical finishing off with a single. This is Laura again. Cutest little baby. She's absolutely adorable. Whimsical moment. Just a little bit of a bit more of a grungier finish on this one, just to have some fun. All right, so we'll get started with layout 1. There was a cutting guide. The link is on this video. So you just need to make sure all your piles are separate, and we're obviously going to start with pile 1, and let's get going. Reference. Okay, pile 1, you're doing the standard easy start with Celebr8 paper. You've got your first 2 sheets. Sorry if the cat irritates you. I'm sorry. She's been with us before, our kids, so she gets away with everything. Okay, so there's 2 pages that are exactly the same. You can see that. We've cut off the barcodes as per the cutting guide, and that is going to be your base. So we just keep that in mind. I'm going to again teach as I did in Australia. It seemed to make life a lot easier for everybody else to have one side done and then come across to the other side. So we're going to start working first on 1A. So that is with your little fairy on the bottom left corner. So 1A. And then we're going to work from there. So I'm just going to put it on the side for now so we don't get confused. Oh, I scrap it. And I'm just looking for the wreath quickly. Okay, so obviously with your fussy cutting, you'd have to have your wreath cut before we can do this one. But this is going to see, sorry, I'm going to put it with B for now. All right, so here is 1A. And we have my 1A pile. Little bits and pieces. All right, this one I did layer, my typical style of layering. My second double I did relatively flat, just for those who don't like to do too many layers. again, as always, if you don't want to add too much in the way of foam, don't. If you want to have just a little bit of dimension, add it when we come to the photo mats. Right, so we're going to start off, first of all, with, it will be 1H. 1H, it's a nice big piece. 1H, castles in the background, and it's 9.5 by 7. This one was stuck flat. I've lost my scissors. So this one. Now, again, to make life easier, I've positioned according to pictures as much as I could, so you don't have to measure. It's nothing more intimidating than trying to make sure you put in the right spot. So if there's a picture, you can stick it over or whatever, then we're good to go. It makes life so much easier. I did sand all of these, sorry, I forgot to mention. So I'm going to sand as I go. Okay, with 1H, we're going to sand the top, the left, and the bottom. That's going to be landscape. So top, left, and bottom. Sorry, I'm just doing the, I can't move my camera. I'd normally do it off the edge of the page, but the edge of the table, so I'm going to quickly do it, which is off screen. A light sand, just to get the white to come through as a little bit of a border. Now that I'm in a rush, I'm making a mess of it, but it still has the effect. So we're doing the top, the bottom, and the two sides in landscape format. See, I just use a normal cheapy. Okay, so the side that it wasn't sanded stays by your center line. So we're still dealing with 1H to keep it there, just for those who get confused. Sticking this one flat, and I will give you the positioning shortly. Without a ruler, isn't it fantastic? You can stick something down without a ruler. Absolute best. Saves a lot of time as well. So these layouts are flat, so I'm just going to use normal tape. I don't need extra strength for this. There's no interactives. It's just layered, so we don't have to worry too much about moving things around. Okay, so for on 1H, I mean 1A, when you look at your piece of paper, you'll see that there's a little bird above a nest, and then there's a little dot. We're going to use that dot as our marker. Step on down. So remember, landscape, side that wasn't sanded. And it's just going above that birdie's head. Just above the head. So you do cover a bit of a circle. So you can see. Just above the birdie's head like that. All right. Easy enough. Then we're going to move on to I am missing a piece. I think I've mislabeled it. Sorry about this. I know we're having too many things going on at once. Sorry, if you can go into, sorry about this. Okay, so sorry, in pile two, humblest of apologies, pile two, you're needing to get 2H, 2I, and 2J. All right, so I'll give you a minute to do that. These two also need to be sanded, but again, I'll give you where they need to be sanded, because you'll see 2H and I line up. This is so we can use the center line again and do this pages each side separately. So 2H, sorry, from your 2 pile. One day I'll get my leveling right, one day. And I'm just going to sand one of this. You can also look for those while you scratch into your 2 pile. So I just want to make sure I'm doing this the right way now. Confusing myself. Not a good thing. Okay, like that. So let's check this out. All right, so 2H, you've got a thin blue strip on your right-hand side. Do not sand that. It's going to match up to 2I. That is going to be layered once if you would like to layer. So again, make sure, as Juliet's taught us, keep the tuck spots. So I'm going to cut a piece of foam around about 6.5 by approximately 6.5. Right. So ladies, just use, look at this color. It doesn't matter what color your foam is. So if you get it to a store and they've got a whole heap of particular color that they're not selling, but it's cheaper, go for it. Get the cheap one. Really doesn't affect it. I am going to just trim off a little bit more just so I have a bit more of a tuck spot. So just screen so you can see me doing it. So instead of 6.5, I'm going to make it 6. This isn't vital, it's just preference. Turning over, see the dots. Tape on the back of the foam. All right, again, we're going to use the paper itself for the measurements. So as you look up here, you'd see these dots, and then there's like a white patch amongst the dots. A few dots coming down. You're just going to, just a little bit like that. Let's see, give you a measurement for those who are a bit. So it's 1 inch down from the top and along the central line. Remembering the section you didn't sand, the narrow blue piece stays on your right-hand side. Let's just put this here for those who like to be accurate. Inch down, nice and straight with the central line, and there you go. Pretty simple so far. Then we need to go for the right pieces. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces that are measured at 4 3/4 by 3.5. That's 1C and 1D. These are photo mats. So we'll need to put foam on them, sand them again. This time you need to sand all the way around. And while you're at that, we can also sand all the way around 1I. We're using the blue side, so just make sure you're sanding on the blue. So one eye is going to be your journaling little thing. And the two identical pieces are going to be photo mats. Off the screen. I don't want to fiddle with the camera. See my shoes in my tummy, so they're all not just ending. I'm just using the edge of the table to keep it sturdy. So all of these have got a layer of foam. So I'm going to cut those foam pieces quickly. We'll see if I can get from the scraps. These scraps. Let's do 2.5, 4 roughly. 4. Roughly 2.5. Roughly. Let's just trim it down anyway. See, I love using the foam. It's just so easy to cut. And you know your page has been secured nicely. These are going to go onto your photo mats. Yeah. But to create space, I did leave these out so you could look at them for later, but it's going to be on the second half of the page. So 2I and 2J will go on the second half. There's moving these out there as well, so let's not confuse each other. Right. So the one is super easy. We can stick that flat down. We don't have to create a step. We're going to do that one first. There are stack portraits. Probably should take a class. Yeah, I didn't measure. It's just flush against that side with a narrow little strip above. Just a narrow. Just like that. Everything, as long as it's flush against the side, we're all good. Next one's a little bit complicated. We're going to have to do our step thing again because it just goes off the blue. And you will need to choose a title that's most appropriate for your image. So I used A New Beginning. You can do amazing things. So find that quote quickly. So just give me a second. So you had a lot of pages that you didn't cut. So as you can see, there's a couple of choices of that size, but you're needing that size. So I'm going to quickly cut the one I wanted, which is A New Beginning, just right in the middle. I have to do a little bit extra cuts quickly. When cutting, just make sure, like guillotine wise, obviously it's different if you scissors or something, you look for the full lines that go through the page, so you don't end up wasting a quote and cutting through a quote. So many cuts at the moment because I'm actually cutting around it. Again. And then finally, I can cut it free from all the others. Okay, so I have all of that cutting, which is for that one little piece. So all these extras put aside for now. Obviously, you're welcome to change the title as long as it's that size. Sand it. I actually put sanding in the cutting guide, and then we can just put it together, make life a lot quicker. All right, this one is going to go and line up with the central line again, but leaving a little bit of the pinky pattern and about an even space between the pinky pattern and, well, it's actually not even. Okay, so we'll use our paper. You have rows of triangles. You're going to use the paper and stick it just above that line, that white line there of triangles. I did raise it, so we're going to have to create a little step again. Well, not again, but I'm going to do it another time as well. So now they're just sort of pieces like this, and just dip, 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 dip. There's no need to be too accurate. It's roughly, so I'm just going to cut a thin piece. So for this piece to sit nice and flat along that dotted line, like I said, we are going to need to double up the bottom of this quote. So we've got this extra piece here. I'm going to just basically goes under, and it will make it equal. If you're nervous about your positioning, we already established this is going to be the bottom. So that white row of most eye shapes, it's fine. Just make sure you stick it above that. Edge, so we've got a tuck spots. And you can do it that way. So when you stick this down, you know it's not going to be in the way. So that's one way of doing it as well. And then just put tape on the back of the quote. Normally I'm left alone to do these classes, and I feel like an absolute Charlie because we have a nice glass window facing onto the road from the studio, and people walk past and they see this person just randomly talking to herself. But now I've got Dennis working behind the scenes, behind our little studio wall.
Hello.
And it's making me feel even more stupid. So you can't win. Oh, goodness. So tolerate me, but I get a bit nervous. It's much easier to make mistakes when you're on your own, and you know you're on your own than when people are listening in. So bear with me, please. Okay, we have a funny little scrap here. For this photo mat, it's going to line up with that same row there. So we can line it up there, it goes right against. And that's one way of making sure your step is in the right place. But now we know we need to still fill that space up. So we're just going to use some scraps while we're working with little spaces. On the waste for foam. Nice and easy. So make sure you're above your white dots that your bottom line's on. So using the bright foam actually helps you see what I'm doing. It's fantastic. And then we're going to put tape on the back of the actual photo mat. this one in place. So it lines up at the bottom there, same sort of distance away. Like that. And then we're moving on to the one we sanded. That's a little quote sheet. This goes here to make life easier. I'm going to stick it down now anyway, but there is a beautiful fussy cut element that needs to be cut. Yeah, I'll show you on the actual page. This beautiful little girl here. So what I did is I fussy cut her out, and then I fussy cut out the inner section, keeping her. The bird I took out, so this peachy background is gone. And then I fed the paper through underneath her face. So I'll just give you a zoom in on that. So you can see how the paper is actually going behind her face and covering some of the wreath. So you'll need to do that before sticking down the next piece. So actually, I'm not going to stick it down. I'll show you where it goes, because positioning there is, it's basically around your element and how you want to stick it down. So ultimately, it's going to go approximately there. So just use your dots, second row of dots, and like that. So your fussy cut element fills up that space nicely, and then you just put a little tag in there. You're also needing piece 1E. It's a silly little narrow piece, 1E. Just sand that. Please don't sand one of the short ends. Both long sides and one of the short sides, not both. Again, it's going to go across the center line. And it's going to go just above those fairy lights. And I did use foam tape just to make my life a little bit easier with this one. My foam tape is broader than my paper. So just want to show you a little hack. You can just cut the piece in half. So I'm going to just hack any length. Unfortunately, if you do end up with residue sticking onto your scissors, benzene is a fantastic thing to just get rid of the gluey residue, but make sure you're in a ventilated space and keep away from naughty teenagers. And maybe that's going to go roughly there. So you'll see it comes near the bird's little flower there, but on that. And at the end, you can choose one of your quotes, the skinny quotes from your barcode strip or quote sheet, and put that on top of it. All right, so you can see it's just to highlight the little quote. How quick is that? First half of page 1 done. A little bit of fussy cutting to do, but that's the fun part. Get to the second half. Second half. So we have the remaining 1 pieces, and you have your 2 I and J. Okay, so this is your second half. Line that nicely there, because we will be using it for spacing. It's 1 page. So that's where it's going to go, and then we are going to move on to, let's first to 1G. 1G is going to line up there. So that was stuck down nice and flat, but remember the sanding. So you're going to sand top, bottom, and one long side. Just check when you put it on your page. They were cut apart on the cutting guide, so they should line up. The pattern should line up. See, don't they? If they don't, it's not the end of the world, but for those who want to be specific, that's what's happened there. So teaching in 2 halves is a lot more cutting, but it seems that the construction is way easier to understand. That's the only reason I'm not doing it as one whole unit anymore. Every time I've taught it as a whole unit, there's all sorts of complications and people aren't sure if I'm referring to the left side or the right side. So now we just, half of it's done. We're using that as a reference now. We're working on the other half. So we're just going to stick that flat. Here, so you know where it's going to go once you fussy cut. Okay. So lining up now is going to be the key. Get the table. Oh, for those of you who noticed, I get my nails done for each collection. Part of the benefits of being married to the boss. So this little baby, this little Lara, she's my nail technician's little daughter. So quite special. She did my nails. Quite cute. I don't know whether I thought she's not focusing. Yeah, that's nice to give something back sometimes. Just going to line it up. So line up, essential, and down it goes. Then we move on to 2i. So when you put 2i next to the wood grain from the other side, the patterns should line up. Again, if they don't, it's not the end of the world. No one's really going to notice, apart from you. And I know some of you that's going to irritate way too much. But so remember the first half, we had foam underneath the wood, so we're going to have to put foam underneath the wood again to make it balanced. I'm just cutting random pieces of foam now and making it work. Now foam, as compared to double-sided tape will end up becoming pretty expensive to do my type of scrapbooking and very lengthy. Imagine putting a line, because every space you leave forms a little indentation after a while. So your paper ends up looking a bit wavy. Over here, the foam supports the whole piece. So just one layer of foam. For those in Oz, by the time you get this, the foam sheets should be with Jenny. So you can get your foam sheets at a reasonable price. Oh, I didn't sand this one. And I've taken the tape off. Okay, note yourself, sand. I've taken the tape off, I have to do it. I think I can just yank it off. Thankfully the table is smooth. Remember, don't sand the strip that's going to line up. Oops. Okay. Using the layouts, central line again with the 2 pages join, blue. Oh, that. the wood grains to line up. And there you go. Then we're going to move on to 1J. 1J. We're actually using this side, floral side, well, not floral, the colorful side. So just sand that. This time you can sand on all 4 sides. See all of the sides, but anyway. This is going to line up with the bottom of that blue piece that we put on. So if you've got your page, you want to measure, it's about 1/2 inch. Otherwise, you just put something to line it up, make it nice and straight. And then again, I use the pictures on the paper to make life nice and easy. You've got your cute little lights coming down here. It just goes near the lights, but lining up with the blue, so roughly there. Tape on the back of it. So much easier than measuring. This has no foam, just tape. Using my thumb and sand it. Okay, so this one's going landscape. As I said, lining up with the bottom there. And then you've got your cute little lights there. So line up there. So for those who are wanting more detail, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lines up with the top of the 6th little light from the bottom. And just make sure my triangle's going the right way. Okay. Nice and straight. And flat down. So it's really in the middle of nowhere at the moment. Then we're going to move on to 2J. So I've got all these papers lying around, that's confusing. Let's push them out the way. Okay, which was the other wood grain piece. This needs to be raised. Enough of a tuck spot. Just on the safe side, take it off. Sheet of foam quickly. Cut a random piece of foam. Completely random, totally wrong size. No one sees the foam. It doesn't matter. Right. So you got foam on the back of your wood. Now we are going to stick it down. This one you will need to make sure your wreath has been cut, just for spacing. So your wreath, to make sure it's facing upright, you can't go on the bill, you have to go on the little birdie houses, make sure they're facing the right way. And it's right towards the edge, so we're not going to cut it. When we cut your page in half, all of the wreath is still on the right hand side. So it's important to keep that in mind. And then the top leaf is right by the top of the page. Top leaf on the top of the page like that. So you have a rough idea. Please don't get upset with me. We will be covering the little pixie in the corner there, or angel, or fairy. I think she's a pixie. Those ears look like pixies. But we do fussy cut her out and make an actual element. So it's just a, this is it, to make it look as if wood has gone all the way through. So we line up there. Page is strange. First page out the way. Line up there. This is going to be going, the leaf is almost top. Remember, the houses are checking if it's straight. And then we're going to go and make sure we overlap. Let's not give you a space. Let's do it. So basically, we're going to use the picture. We're going to go halfway through the blue flower on the little pixie's face. And yet again, I forgot to sand. Sorry. So again, just sanding one long side and two short sides. So we're needing to fill in this gap here to make it look as if the wood's gone all the way across. So we're going to, for those who want to use the picture, we've got a beautiful turquoisey flower in her hair. Right there. The camera's focusing. It's going to go about halfway through that flower and make sure you line up the other wood grain. Right. So it looks a bit of a mess right now. But then once you put your photo in and the wreath, it sorts it out. You do still need, you've got a blue piece. We've got one F still left. So I will remember to sand one F first. Remember, only two long sides and one short side. Here's your first half. Section you haven't sanded. And remember here I used my foam tape because it could be a slight difference between thicknesses. So I'm just going to make sure it's the same height as the other side. Slice a little bit. This page really is about the fussy cutting. When you look in detail on the completed page, it's just layering and making it look like it's coming alive. There, make sure it's straight. There we go. So that is layout one done. Doesn't look done because of this, but you can't stick this on until you've stuck your photo on the back. Right, so this, there is no photo matting. I put a photo straight behind you. If there's anything that sticks out, I just trimmed it off. Then I put foam on here to make it layer one for the wood. And then I put little strips of foam around there to give it two layers. Okay, so the main thing when you stick it down, put foam in there in that gap because you're not going to see that. Then put foam on the back of that so you know it's not going to be visible when you turn it over. You stick it down, make sure your houses are facing the right way up. Your little green leaf is right at the top, and that will be the way it's done. Just to give you an example of the fussy cuts. So you'll see here, I fussy cut the little girl again, put her back in place. I added an extra layer of flowers up here. I put a layer behind. That's part of the acetate sheet. The chipboard, colored with brilliance, just straightforward, nothing fancy, just brilliance. So it's 2 of the fairies, sparkle and shine. And then on the other side is 1 fairy. Here again is some acetate saying shine. There's another little fairy from the acetate. This is a tag from your fussy. And here has been layered a few times. So you'll see you've got your background, you've got the little girl, and then you've got the bird with that little bird house. That is the first layout done. Nice and easy. I'm just going to pause now and clean up the surface, and we can get on to layout 2. Ooh. Sorry about some of the plastic at this time. Right. Oh, push this off. Stress out of my mind. Where's my definitely from my last class that I taught online, if I can refer to something on the page, a picture on the page when sticking down instead of giving measurements, so much quicker. Yeah, because then they don't have to sit there with the ruler, and then there's 2 measurements, be from left and top, or bottom and right. Right now it's okay, so just, well, there it is. Stick it there. Huh? Mm. That giggle's noisy. I want to start.
Sorry.
I want to start, but the giggle's noisy.
I'll stop.
No. I'll cut my foam in the meantime. Start.
You so